Got a lovely girly card for today's video. Shows off our new rose die. I think that makes such a pretty border. So I'll introduce you to the dies we'll be using. And first up we have the Delightful Sentiments. That's a clear stamp set by Creative Expressions. Here is the Blushing Rose, and these come in two pieces, so I'll show you a little trick to keeping those. This is the Lattice Window Striplet, and we're going to show you how to change that up a little bit. The Emma die is going to be on our background. And I'm using the Indus die from the Mini Gemini collection as a little bit of a petticoat around our border. And we're going to be doing some embossing with one of my favorite embossing folders called Bed of Roses. Right. So let's start there. Since I like to work from the background up, I've got a piece of coconut white card, and I've got just a little bit of a cut corner at the top. We're going to be using. Pop that into place. And since this is a very random rose pattern, it doesn't actually matter if it's straight inside the folder or not. The raspberry adapter is the sandwich for the grand caliber. We'll run that through. There we go. That just gives us a little bit of texture for our background, which I love. Pop that out. Let me grab a little pokey tool, catch the edge there. There we go. You can see how beautifully that embosses. It's one of my absolute favorites. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into place, and we can kind of work upwards from there. For the base of this, what I've done is I've just cut a little strip of card and used a scoring board to put score lines about 1/4 inch apart all the way across. So I've used some mounting foam here. We'll pop that into place. And we're going to put the emboss area to the top here, about like that. And then I'm just going to match this up at the bottom with the scored area. We'll cover that, okay? Tidy up as I go a little bit. There we go. So the next thing I want to do is add my Indus. Now I've gone ahead and cut this. With the Indus die, you can use either of the cutting edges. So depending on what design you want at the bottom, it doesn't matter, you can turn it because it's completely different on both sides. I've decided I like just a little bit of the scallop showing from the bottom. So I'm going to work that over that line there, and I think I'll just use a little bit of glue to do that. Cosmic Shimmer Dry As Clear Glue works perfect for it. Pop that into place, oh, right about like that. Just covering that line up. Okay, give that a second. Then I did cut the Emma die. I'm using the Emma die in whole out of a piece of kind of a dusty rose sort of color pink card there. A little bit of mounting foam on the back, and that is going to just be the top part of our card. So I'll put that right there in place. The next thing I want to do is cut the striplet for us, the Lattice Window Striplet. So I think I will do this one from the inside out. I'm going to cut the lattice section first because this die comes in 4 separate pieces. So I'll pop that into place right in the middle of my card. There we go. And we'll run that through. Whenever you have a die that's in different sections and it's very detailed, it's so much easier to cut it separately rather than struggle with it, because the edge of those, the metal pieces kind of sometimes can prevent it from getting into the intricate pieces. So just by putting the first piece in, either from the center out or from the outside in, either way works fine. I just find it's really, really easy to cut that way. So now what I'm going to do is pop this decorative area around it, go back and tape it into place. Just center it around that. Tape a little bit to the inside. And I'm going to use the outside cutting edge around it as well, so we'll tape that. get it nice and centered. There we go. And we can pop it right back through the machine and cut the rest of it. I think when die cutting machines first came on the market, most dies were really, really simple squares, circles, that kind of thing. But as the designs have progressed and become so much more detailed, it is a little bit more difficult to cut them. So breaking them up into different sections makes them easier, and I like to design my dies that way, just so it's a tiny bit easier, but it also gives you more versatility too. So there's that I love. All right, pop this out, and let me just get a hold of this piece of tape on either side. There we go. Okay. So you can see how easy that cuts, just doing it in two separate sections. Now, I am going to put a backing piece on that and show you what else you can do with it. I'm going to do a white on white backing, so I've just used that outer cutting edge to cut the shape that matches this. I'm going to spray this with some adhesive on the back, give it a quick coat on both sides there. One in, now the other. And just give it a second, we'll line it up. There we go, get it, oop. I find it's easier to do this when it's in my hand. Line that edge up, okay. Give a nice press. So now I've got a white on white piece. Now I want to use this as a tag, but as you can see, that's really large. So what we'll do is we'll just bring in our paper cutter and we'll trim it down a little bit, okay. So like usual, I'm going to cut the very center of it in half, put it together, and we are going to line it up and cut it right about there. Now I've got 4 pieces here, so let's see if I can get through that cleanly. There we go. Pop that down. So now what I can do, bring my tape in, just put it back together upside down. Oops, don't move. Put a little tape on to hold it, and then I'll put a larger piece across it, about like that. Trim just the extra little bit there. So you can see I can make this so it'll fit now nicely inside of that Emma die. So I'm going to pull one in that I've done earlier with a bit of mounting foam. I'm going to pop that into the section right there, center that, and then we'll put the sentiment over that in a minute, but I think I'll go back to the border, kind of working a little bit back and forth here. I did want to show you on these roses, these blushing roses, they have an outer piece and an inner piece, and because they're very organic looking, if you take your die, when you get them, turn them upside down so that you are looking at the flat part of the die, not the cutting edge, and then line them up and just put a little black mark on the same spot on both the inner and the outer. It does make it easier when you go to line it up, and you don't have to worry about, oh, which way does that fit? So I just find that's a little tip. That does not cut, does not touch your card, so it won't leave a mark. If you put it on the other side, it would. So you want to make sure. Plus, as you're lining it up on a card, that's the side you would be looking at too. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've cut the pink back piece with just the outer cutting die, and then I've cut the white decorative edge with both the inner and the outer. So I'm going to put this together with a little spray glue. Very detailed center there. So, and now I'm just going to work this up so I think I've got exactly the same shape. A little bit of turning here. How about like that? There we go. Line that up. Give it a little push, make sure it's on there. And I like to give these just a bit of shape, so I can bring in my foam mat here and a little bit of a ball stylus and just rub the back of that. Just gives it a tiny bit of dimension, a little more lifelike. Oops. So you have that rounded look to it. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is pop these into place across my border. So I'll hide the top part of that. And I've got 6 of them that I've done. And I'm just going to kind of twist and turn them a little bit. There we go. tiny bit of an overlap maybe. You can even vary them up and down a tiny bit if you like, just to give some dimension to your border. Maybe put this one down a little bit. There we go. Pop that one up a tiny bit. And let me put a piece of mounting foam on the back of this one here. We'll raise it up. Pop that into place. And let me just add a tiny little pearl to the center of that one since all the others already have one. There we go. And I've cut several of the leaves that come in this set that have an inner and outer frame on them as well. Oops. So I'm going to use a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer Glue, and we're just going to seat some leaves around it to add a little bit of dimension. And you can give these some dimension just by folding them if you like. Put that on there. You can also cut these, even though it is a single and a double leaf that comes in the set, but it's totally up to you. You can change it to fit whatever you need. Add a few on here, up above maybe. I do like these leaves. I think they are so pretty. Pop a couple off of this side. And let's just add one more here. Put it right underneath that. There we go. So now we just need to do our sentiment. So let me just find where it's gone off to underneath all my mess here. There it is, hiding. So I've stamped it in black. I'm going to use the inside of the Zoe die, which is the little oval. And we're going to cut that. Just line that up over the edge. Pop it onto our cutting plate and run it through. This oval happens to be exactly the right size to cover that cut area line that shows on the striplet. So it works perfectly for this. So I'm going to do a bit of inking. Pop that down. I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me just pop that back into place. I'll tell you, I have a better idea. There we go. A little bit of a magnetic sheet holds that little die in place. There we go. My finger's a bit sticky, so I keep catching it. There we go. WORN lipstick, Distress ink, matches that nicely. And I'm just going to give it a tiny bit of a highlight around the edge here. Using a smoothie to apply the ink, so you have a really nice, smooth application. I'm going to turn that. There we go. Blend it. That'll work. Pop that down. And a little piece of mounting foam on the back of that. So now you can see that that will cover that absolutely perfectly from edge to edge. There you go. Just love the way that comes out, and I think that rose border is just so interesting and different. And you've got a little bit of a petticoat coming up with the Indus underneath there, just to add some fine detail to it. Well, that's it for today's video, but I do have a whole bunch more videos on our Creative Expressions YouTube channel, and if you just want to see my cards, I have a daily blog, which is www.partycraft.blogspot.com.